Good morning. Today we're going to do a lesson on perimeter. Last week I asked you to watch a little video and it told you the difference between area and perimeter. So perimeter is when you measure the outside of objects, around the outside, and area is when you measure the inside of an object. Today we're going to focus on perimeter, the outside of an object. So you're going to measure the perimeter of objects using standard and non-standard units. We'll talk about that in a second. So your success criteria, I know the difference between area and perimeter. Again, perimeter is the outside, around the edges of an object. And we're going to use non-standard units and standard units. So standard units are your regular measurement units like centimeters or meters, or if you have a really tiny object, maybe the little wee millimeters. Okay? Non-standard units are like our math manipulatives at school, like the snap cubes that we use or other things we use to measure. But you're at home, so what are you going to use to measure? You can pick any object as long as it's the same size. So some examples I came up with, you could use Q-tips, you could use noodles, you could use Lego as long as you're using the same size of pieces. You could use paper clips, markers, or playing cards. You can really come up with anything you want as long as you have a decent amount of it and it's the same size. Okay? And of course, you want to make sure you're following the measurement rules. Let's talk about them. We haven't done measurements since about October, so we need to stretch our minds all the way back to October and November when we did measurement. We learned some different measurement rules. One was that we can't have any gaps or overlaps. So this is not an accurate measurement because there's spaces left between the manipulatives. We could need to measure end to end. So we need to stretch our manipulatives all the way out, our cubes or whatever we're using, all the way out to both sides of the object. And we need to make sure the units are the same size. So whatever we're using, whether it's noodles or Q-tips or Lego or dinky cars or whatever you're using, make sure they're the same size. We can't have different size units or it's not an accurate measurement. Right here is examples of how it could look. On this one, I measured end to end. There's no spaces between them and my units are the same size. Same with this one. This one is just that I went over a little bit. That's okay. We can estimate. We can do an approximate measurement to say 3 and about a half. Okay, so this would be still an accurate measurement. We're just kind of cutting off the end and saying it's about 3 and a half. So your job today, this week, is to find 2 objects to measure around your house, and you're going to measure the perimeter, and you're going to do it with non-standard units, so some kind of math manipulative that you find around your house, and you're going to measure the perimeter with standard units, like a centimeter. If you don't have a measuring tool, like a ruler or a measuring tape at your house, that's okay. You can still do your estimate and then just leave the actual measurement blank. So here's my example. I measured one of my paintings and I used Q-tips as my math manipulative. So I took an estimate. I thought it would be 14 Q-tips around. It ended up being 17. So I measured each side. I had 5. Since it's a rectangle, 2 of the sides were 5 Q-tips. And 2 of the sides were about 3.5 Q-tips each. You can see my Q-tips went over the edge a little bit here and here. And then I added it up and it equaled 17. Okay, so there's a little bit of math involved. And then I measured it in centimeters with my measuring tape. And I got approximately the 2 sides that were 31 centimeters, the top and the bottom. And then the longer sides were 41 centimeters each. I added them up to get 144 centimeters. Then I do the same thing with one other object in my house. You could do something really big, like a table, or you could do something really small, like, I don't know, whatever you have at home that you want to measure, a tablet maybe. Okay, have fun measuring, and I'm looking forward to seeing what your assignments are.